and they have a limited amount of money. And they knew that they wouldn't be able to take care of this building and be able to fulfill the vow they made to their members. So Hurrle Hall meant a lot to them. But they realize that they have to let it go so that they can care for their sisters.
I'm interested in buying, renovating, and repurposing Hurrle Hall as a mixed-use development.
Metro Plains Development Partners is interested in pursuing converting Hurrle Hall into an affordable housing apartment community.
We've done a lot of roofs, we've done a lot of flooring and toilets and windows and all that good kind of stuff. And what we do is we have them fill out an application, find out what they need to do, and then we start directing them to these various programs that we have. The HPC, my program, the EDA, maybe SBA to help with the business.
Because of this redevelopment program, we are not only upkeeping existing buildings, but we are also saving them. We are keeping existing businesses and helping create new ones.
I will make a motion affirming the decision by the HPC approval of the deconstruction demolition permit for Franciscan Sisters of Little Falls.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Mr. President, I would like to add, we do need housing. We do need a lot of housing. And I believe the entire council understands that. But there's other reasons for this decision. And to know that we're covered with the decision that we make based on the recommendation of the HPC. I understand that, and so hopefully no matter what happens here, the public does understand we need housing in Little Falls.
For the last 30 years, I've been a member on numerous boards locally and throughout the region. This year will be my 7th as mayor.
Then created it. We knew also, and this is partly a really strong part of working with the mayor and Lori in their history in the city and their involvement in the EDA. So taking a lead from our HPC, a program that has been in existence now almost 30 years, and they have a loan and deferred loan program that provides very low interest loans and deferred loans. And when I say deferred loan, just basically think grant. That is earned over years of ownership. So they will be able to finance different parts of a historic building. So unfortunately, their work only extends to the outside, the front facades, windows, doors, and then the roof. So they can only finance projects that exist in those areas, as well as have to be part of the historic district. So, but their programs are very handy because they can fund things and provide principal to the project for that owner and developer that they don't otherwise have access to. So the structure of their program was that you would take your project, whatever it was, it could be the roof, it could be windows, it could be a combination of all of it, apply to the HPC. They would make a determination of whether or not that the project was going to meet the characteristics of the historic guidelines. And if it did, then you could move forward. So you could go through, let's say, a $50,000 renovation of your facade with windows or part of the roof. And of that $50,000 of your project, 60% of it would be a low interest loan with a 0% payback during its first 5 years. And then it would go up 1% each year after that up until year 10. The 30% of that program would be the deferred loan portion. So this is the principal forgiveness or grant. So each year that you own the building after your loan approval, 10% of the 30% of your project is forgiven. So if you sold the building in year 5, you would still owe 50% of the 30% of the cost of the project. The remaining 10% is an equity portion that the owner needs to bring to the project. So that you need to be able to show or prove that you have some financing. So this is stuff that doesn't get collateralized other than for the HPC. If you're doing a facade, they would require a facade easement so that you make sure you maintain the historic guidelines. And then we also have a housing redevelopment authority. That's a taxable authority that allows us to do work that's for residential projects. This would also fit within some of the buildings that we have in our historic downtown because they have apartments. There's no deferred loan portion with theirs, but they would do some low interest loan portions with some other resources. But most importantly, we knew that there's still a gap between what the HPC could fund. Not every building has residential, so we needed to create this redevelopment program that could help, mostly with work that needed to happen on the interiors of buildings. So that's where the redevelopment program came in. Okay, so here's some of the things that we would be able to fund. As the mayor said, as Carol said, there's challenges with old buildings, especially meeting modern standards, and how those improvements are going to be financed is going to be extremely challenging because you may need to do ADA compliance and providing restrooms or building, improving your plumbing or electrical into a building, and fixing the floors or painting the walls or even putting pipe in the building for the plumbing purposes or electrical. So we really opened the door pretty wide for a lot of potential uses. The intent of the EDA to say we need to make some of these investments, we need to take some of these risks, and we need to be able to give our developers, our building owners, an opportunity, business owners, opportunities to fund projects that are going to make sure that their buildings are going to be successful in the future. In the end, we want to save as much of the buildings as possible. In the end, we want to save as much of the buildings as possible. In the end, we want to save as much of the buildings as possible.